chords in this piece just don't sound right. This is one of the most common frustrations that I hear from adult piano players. And every single time someone shares this struggle with me, I can almost guarantee it comes down to just one of these three things that we're going to talk about in today's video. Because if your chords don't sound smooth or balanced or musical, chances are you are making one of these surprisingly common mistakes. The good news is, the fix is super easy, and we're gonna do that right here in this video. Hey piano people, I'm Ashlee. Welcome to Ashlee Young Music Studio, where you learn to practice smarter, not harder. Let's dive into the 3 chord techniques that most piano players skip and how fixing them can instantly transform the way you sound. The first technique that most piano players skip is reading chords as patterns. Most piano players learn chords by reading each note individually instead of seeing chords as a whole entire unit that are a part of a pattern. And this slows you down and makes your playing feel really clunky. So if you look at this piece, The Wild Horseman by Schumann, you can see that the left hand is full of chords. There are chords everywhere. And if you try to learn this piece by reading these chords with the notes individual, it would take you a long time, because in every single chord, there's at least 3 notes, right? And so if you look at this piece and you say, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chords just in the first 2 lines, that means you're gonna be reading 27 individual notes, which is gonna take you a really, really long time. But if you can look and recognize that this left hand here is actually 4 chords repeated over and over and over again. That is so much more simple than 27 notes. Now, the easiest solution here is to memorize all of your chords as patterns instead of thinking about them note by note. This will help you quickly recognize them. And when you can quickly recognize patterns, it makes it so that you can sight read, learn new pieces, and memorize so much faster. Now, I actually have a brand new course that I am so freaking excited about. It's called Read Music 10 Times Faster, and I haven't announced it to the public yet, but this course trains you to instantly recognize patterns, including major and minor chords, so that you can sight read, learn pieces, and memorize so much faster. And because it's so related to this video, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of it and an opportunity to snag it before anyone else. So I'm gonna link it in the description below, and you can grab it before it's even announced to like the general public. Shh, don't tell anyone. Chord technique number 2 that most piano players skip is proper positioning. This is a very, very common one, and it's such an easy fix. Oftentimes when piano players see chords, they want to feel secure. And so in an attempt to do this, they move their fingers to the very back of the keys, kind of like by the wood of the piano or by the very back of your keyboard. And this slows down your hand, makes it so that your fingers have a harder time moving between the keys, and it really affects your accuracy. And before we dive into the full solution here, if you are liking this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of these videos that I release on a regular basis. And if you wouldn't mind, copy the link and share it with a friend or share it with an online community of piano players. YouTube does not like the fact that I changed my video publishing schedule, and so sharing the link to this video will not only help out other piano players that are struggling with this exact same issue, it's also going to really help out the channel, and I would be forever grateful. Okay, so let's look at The Wild Horseman again, and I'm gonna play the chords way back here, and I want you to listen really carefully to how uneven they are, how the notes are sounding at different times, and how I just can't play as accurately, okay? It's really hard to do. I almost can't even do it. Hang on. And you can hear, like, listen. It's almost impossible for me to play all the notes at the same time. I'm like rolling the chords on accident. They're also louder, and especially when I have to move over the black keys, I'm having such a hard time even finding the correct notes. Now, the solution for this is obviously to pull your fingers to the edge of the keys. That's gonna give you so much more control. So instead of being all the way back here, we're gonna go out to the edge of the keys, and I want you to listen to how much lighter my playing is, how much more accurate these left-hand chords are, and how much better they sound. All of a sudden, all of the notes are sounding at the same time, so much lighter, so much easier. Technique number 3 for chords that most piano players skip is proper fingering. Using inconsistent or awkward fingerings is really going to make it very difficult to play chords smoothly. This is especially true if you are making up the fingering as you go instead of remaining consistent every time you play repeated chords. And it's also true if you've never looked at a scale or chord book to see what the actual fingering for chords is. I'm gonna demonstrate this with a C major chord, and this is something that I see really often. If we're doing a root position triad that is all on white keys, like a C major chord, I want to be using using 1, 3, and 5. And so often people are using like 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, and 5, or 1, 4, and 5. And this just splits the hand up in an incredibly awkward way that makes it impossible not only for your brain to make sense of it and get it into your muscle memory, but also for you to actually like technically execute that chord. So if you are completely unaware of what the standard chord fingerings are, I would recommend that you either download, I have a free PDF that I'll put in the description. It's the fingering for arpeggios, but arpeggios are broken chords, so oftentimes it's the same. So you can learn the fingerings there, or grab the scale book that I have linked in the description and just start to look at the fingerings of chords that you see over and over again, right? This will help give you like a baseline of what proper fingering is. Depending on the context of the piece, the fingering sometimes changes, but you want to have a baseline. You want to have something that you can come back to and then build from that. I also have a video on how to choose the proper fingering where I go over the things that you need to pay attention to and the things that you need to factor in order to choose proper fingering for anything that you're playing. Now, a little pro tip here is that once you choose your fingering, you want to write it in your music so that you're doing it the exact same way every single time. Because the worst mistake that people make with fingering, in addition to just like, you know, doing it improperly, is to make it up every time they do it. And when you're making up the fingering or not writing it in and not being consistent, your brain will never remember what you're doing. And you're really making the path to learning your piece so much longer. So I'm gonna link that video on how to choose the proper fingering right here on the end screen. I'm also going to link, don't tell anyone, that Read Music 10 Times Faster chord. Not only will it help you learn your chords as patterns, it's going to help break down so many other musical patterns that will make sight reading, learning pieces, and memorizing so much easier. You can grab both right here on the end screen. Happy practicing.